The final shape leaks in Destiny 2 are getting out of hand. It's getting crazy. I don't know what has happened with Bungie's supposed encryption, but it's just not working. For whatever reason, the leak community has been able to bypass that encryption. From what I've been told by various different sources, that encryption was placed with the Into the Light event. So the data miners have had plenty enough time to bypass it and figure out how to get around it. And apparently they figured it out just now, especially as the update has gone live, and they are basically revealing everything with the final shape. Now, this is very different than the previous news story that we covered, where Sony had a massive blunder and they basically just let people log in and play the game for 5 hours roughly, which is pretty crazy, right? They got to see the season pass, or the new episodes and all of the pass that comes with that, the annual pass. And along with the annual pass, they got to play the story a little bit. They didn't make it through to the end. And just as a quick spoiler warning here, we are going to be able to see some of the cutscenes that are happening at the start of the narrative and at the end as well. So it's going to be some pretty crazy stuff that we're covering in today's video, because we're just going to talk about the news and everything that's going on out there. Obviously, we're less than 24 hours away from the final shape. And I know sometimes people like to talk about these videos and say, whoa, why are you talking about the leaks? Like, it's just news. Everything's already out there for everyone to see. It's all public. It's all over Twitter. It's all over any forum that you want to find it on. It's out there on Reddit, etc. And so we're just talking about the stuff that's out there. And obviously we're giving you a fair spoiler warning. There's no spoilers in the title. There's no spoilers in the thumbnail. So literally, if you clicked on this video, you chose to listen to these leaks and listen and to be spoiled, right? So let's start from the very beginning. We're going to talk about the Witness. How big is the Witness? He's a big boy, all right? He's very, very, very tall, much bigger than any boss we've ever fought. Obviously, he's the most powerful entity we've ever faced in the Destiny universe. But when you actually see the size and scope of this guy, we're not going to show any images on here because we're not trying to get copy striked by Bungie. We're not showing the actual final shape images, but I made this very detailed graphic right here to demonstrate the size of the Witness. He's big, right? Like, that looks massive, right? You think on the left there, that's the Witness, and you think on the right, that's a Guardian. That's not a Guardian on the right. That's Nezarec on the right, all right? And this is just my scale that I made here. I think he might even be a little bit bigger than this compared to Nezarec, so just keep that in mind. He's massive, and he's got like 12 arms on his left and right sides. He's got like, I don't know, something like 24 arms. He looks crazy. The Witness looks absolutely absurd, easily going to be the biggest and craziest raid boss. Now we're going to go through the rest of the leaks that are made completely public to everyone. We're just going to be talking about some stuff, speculating stuff, okay? Let's go ahead and start from the beginning here. We're going to be scrolling through Bungie Leaks Twitter account if you're interested in where all of this is getting sourced from. We have the Pale Heart destination title. It's going to be called Transcendent, so if you're interested in that or buying the pin that's going to be available on the Bungie store, look forward to Transcendent. Now we're going to keep scrolling up through the Bungie Leaks account here. We're going to check out everything else that we have. So we got Nessus is referred to in episode Echoes. We already knew this before. We're going to keep going up and scrolling through the rest of it. There's a lot. We got a bunch of cutscenes to cover as well. So we've got the raid jacket has been revealed, and this raid jacket actually looks really, really nice. I haven't bought a raid jacket since the last Wish one, but this one I'm actually buy. It has a really nice gradient on the inside of it. Then we've got the raid seal here, and it's an actual picture of the Witness's face. Looks really cool, and he's got like on his forehead, he's got like wrinkles, and those wrinkles are the exact pattern that we see all over anything that's been terraformed, like those squiggly lines going left and right and stuff. So looks really cool. The raid seal looks amazing. I'm sure a lot of people will be stoked to get that as well. And then as we scroll up another image up, we can see the Witness's model that's been data mined. You can see his like arms and like spikes coming off of his arms, and exactly what he looks like in this. He looks different in this model than he does in the other one, where I see he's got like a ton of different hands and everything. So now we'll move on to the next part. We've got episode Echoes banner here as well. We've got some graphics that are being data mined. Looks like we have a different raid boss from the same raid. Looks like some type of Kell of some sort. It's got 4 arms there. Very interesting player model there. And then as we scroll up even further, we're going to have the Witness again with, I don't even think that's 12 arms on either side. I think that might be like 20 arms on either side. I don't know how he got all these arms, but the Witness has hands. And that's why there's a lot of like hand motifs and all this different stuff from the soundtrack, I believe. Then as we scroll up a little bit further, you can see they've got all of these like ghosts that are all circled around, and then we can see a ton of different weapons and weapon graphics. Now we've already seen a bunch of these weapons as well from some of these gameplay videos out there, so there's going to be some pretty interesting ones and some ones that'll probably shake up the meta a little bit. So maybe some good god rolls to chase after. And then we have some season flashbacks right here, and so we got season of arrivals, some armor ornaments, and like a Witherhoard ornament as well to go with that. Then we have the Tessellation exotic fusion rifle. There's going to be an ornament and catalyst for the Tessellation. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more potent and powerful. It is actually a really strong weapon. I think it's just the only thing that's holding it back is it's like really slow reload. So maybe that will improve that weapon, that exotic a little bit more. Then we have again that a 12-player mission which is called Excision. And I believe from watching all these different cutscenes that Excision is something that we're doing after we defeat the raid. I believe we beat the raid from what these cutscenes show. I've watched them all now. You beat the raid and then we actually weaken the witness. We don't kill him, we weaken him. And then Excision happens, and that's where we finally do kill the witness, like with this 12-player activity. So instead of us like killing him in the raid type of thing, we just like weaken him, and then we're kind of chased out in this cutscene where he's like, literally he's got like giant hands, and like Crow literally pops a golden gun and shoots him with a golden gun, which was pretty cool. And then he takes out a huge Iron Lord axe. I know it sounds like made up, right? You'll see this when it goes live. Crow busts out a huge Iron Lord axe and literally just chops the witness's hand off at one point in time, which was wild. And I think that's after we've hurt that you can see in the cutscene that the witness is like hurt. He's got like a crack on the side of his head. And so basically I'm assuming we like beat the raid, he's injured, and then it begins this 12-player mission, Excision. That's kind of the timeline of things that I've put together here. Now we're going to continue to scroll up and see everything else that we've got here. There's just a ton of stuff that has been leaked here. We're going through everything as we can see it here. All right, so we got more stuff in terms of his player model. And they got some major story spoilers where they talk about Commander Zavala, and obviously there was that cutscene where we saw that Zavala was being sort of like seduced by the witness. I'm not sure if seduced is the right word. I mean, he's not like trying to flirt with the guy, but you know, he's trying to lure him in to become a disciple of the witness, right? And Zavala actually goes into that like black wall of goo, and then the witness is like, yo, what up? Join my team, Commander. And Zavala's like kind of hesitant. He's like, I don't know. And then the ghost is like, F you. The ghost goes out and says, you're a scaredy cat, you know, or something like that. Essentially says he's like, he's scared, he's afraid of something. And then the witness literally grabs Zavala's ghost and crushes it, literally just crushes it, and it explodes. And so that's where Zavala is going to be vulnerable. So will we see Zavala die in this? I don't know. None of these cutscenes show Zavala dying, but at the very least he did get his ghost crushed, so he's obviously vulnerable to death now. Now if he dies, you know, he can't come back. Previously, you know, if he's got his ghost, it's not as big a deal. That's actually a huge story, like, you know, reveal that you're going to see as we get into the game. Now we'll scroll up through the rest of it. We got episode Echoes Act 1 trailer, so they begin to tell the narrative and some of the story that goes on with this stuff. And then they have some cutscenes that go on with this, all very good stuff. And then we have the witness. They have all these different voice lines that they're trying to data mine in regards to what the witness is doing. He's doing all kinds of things. He's laughing, he's screaming. You can hear it in the cutscene. He's screaming at them and maybe even crying at one point, which is honestly kind of humiliating if the witness is literally crying, because he's supposed to be like the most badass entity. And I don't know how I feel about that if he's actually crying, but it would seem like in this other cutscene where it is said by Ikora that we have killed the witness now, like we do the raid and we do the 12-player activity in Excision, I'm assuming, and then we've actually killed him. And then we basically find out about this other Vex guy that we need to face now. And there's like this really powerful, like all of the fleet has left the witness now that he's gone. And apparently there's just this Vex guy. It's kind of the start of a new saga where we're going to be facing the Vex in some manner. And hopefully it's pretty epic and pretty cool, because obviously, you know, we fought the Vex many, many times before. So whatever they're cooking up with this big Vex battle needs to be something, you know, on an even bigger scale than what we've been seeing so far. Especially if like the Traveler just like finishes all of this unscathed, which was, after watching all these cutscenes, I was kind of like, huh? Like, I was expecting, you know, the Traveler, he's getting cut into, maybe the Traveler dies. Like, I don't even know what to make of it all, right? I was like trying to figure out if we're gonna have some crazy changes, but from what I saw, obviously, like, Traveler didn't die in these cutscenes, at least. There could be more. Obviously, they're gonna be data mining more, but very interesting stuff there. And then scrolling up even further, this isn't even like data mine stuff. This is just all of the Destiny characters are coming back in Fortnite. So if you want to go do that, if you want to go play Fortnite, you can, that'll be back there as well. They have some of the ornament sets there from the episode Echoes. Looks absolutely incredible. And then we've got a really cool text dialogue. If we scroll up one more here, this one's really interesting. Scroll up a little bit more for this one. And so we've got the Final Shape story spoilers. At the cost of the light and his ghost, Zavala has made contact with dissenting voices within the Witness and has discovered that they hold the key to defeating it. The Witness is gone, but so is Cayde 6, who sacrificed his light to restore your ghost. He bet it all on you. Still, Ghost can feel Cayde's presence. It's as though he and every other ghost and every other guardian that came before you are connected by the Traveler's light. The Witness sought to give meaning to the universe, but Cayde has shown you that meaning, like fate, is yours to choose. His last act was to ensure that you and your ghost will have a future together in a way that he and Sundance could not. What will you do with it? So Sundance is obviously Cayde's ghost, and when Cayde gets brought back, they show an entire cutscene for this too. They're like, what the hell? Like, how are you back? Like, where were you at? And he basically describes where he was at. He was in some, I don't know how to describe it, purgatory or whatever. I don't know. It seemed like a happy place or whatever. And then he got ripped out of the happy place. He's thrown into the Traveler. He's fighting with Crow, you know, and now he obviously makes the ultimate sacrifice so that way we can get our ghost back. So I guess our ghost is going to get crushed or killed at some point in time, maybe when fighting the Witness, which I guess would be a pretty cool story. I mean, we've obviously experienced that a little bit previously with the Red War stuff, so I'm not entirely sure. I didn't actually see a cutscene of our ghost getting destroyed or crushed, but we know that Zavala's ghost does get crushed, so the Witness can do that pretty easily. And then they have the Final Shape cutscene. They have this Cayde cutscene where he's like explains exactly where he came from and what's happening with his part. Obviously, we've covered that a little bit already now. And then there's a Salvation's Edge memento, so we're gonna actually have a raid memento, which is really nice. Definitely looking forward to that. That'll be, hopefully it looks really cool. I can already imagine what what it will look like on all the different weapons. It'd be cool if it has that like distorts the weapons in terms of that, how things spin, right? And then we have the Final Shape cutscene post raid, which is pretty interesting. There's an entire cutscene that's going to happen as soon as the raid is done, and I believe that was like Mara rallying the troops and being like, you know, we all need to go do excision of sorts, right? Like, this is, you know, we gotta group together. We've got Keitel, we've got all these different armies, we've got Mithrax. We need to go, you know, take on the Witness, and so there's going to be this like 12-player activity, and they're getting us hyped up for that. And so that's what that's all about. With as soon as the raid is completed, you're going to see this cutscene as well. And then as we scroll up even further, we can see right here, there's another big text source that's up here. We're going to read this as well. We got episode Echoes post summary, massive spoilers. Who says Yurix seemingly now has control over the Witness's forces and is trying to find a way to control the entire Vex collective. And then we have, if Liz's leak about the Vex being the next main antagonist is correct, Yurix may likely be the next big enemy. I believe Maya Sundaresh turns into the conductor, who is able to convert Vex onto her side simply by touching them. She is looking for copies of her wife, but none are satisfying enough for her, so she kills them all. We try to restore our version of her wife, but Maya still doesn't listen to her. In the end, we defeat Maya, but Yurix is still trying to grab her data. At one point, Saint 14 sends us signals back to his tomb. Apparently, Saint goes through a crisis where he can't tell if he is real or simply a copy. Key players appear to be Failsafe, Osiris, Nimbus, and Saint. That was some speculation, obviously, from all this stuff, and we do get some cutscenes where we're actually talking to Failsafe, and we're dealing with this like Vex collective and stuff, and obviously all of this will make a lot more sense and be a lot more cohesive when it's live in the game, but we just want to cover some of this stuff here. As we scroll up here, we've got the Final Shape cutscene. We've got Cade and Crow, they have a little bit of bro time in this cutscene. And then as we scroll up more, we can see even more armor ornaments through everything here. So we'll scroll up and see everything else. I'm not showing all this stuff on screen, obviously, just because, like I said before, I don't want this video to get copyright. I just want to talk a little about the stuff that's going on here, because there's a lot going on. If you want to check it out for yourself, you can. It's pretty wild stuff that we got going on here. Then we have Salvation's Edge raid exotic is Euphony. That was leaked before. We got the Final Shape story order. We got the campaign missions 1 through 7, wildcard quest, Salvation's Edge raid. And then we have the 12-player Excision mission. So that's the order like I was talking about a little bit. And then we have Salvation's Edge raid boss. We got the Witness. And then we have the Herald of Finality, I believe is what that says. Sounds pretty epic. And then we'll scroll on to the next part up here above. There's a bunch of stuff here from Bungie Leaks. Going up to the next part. Perfect. And then we got some more player models for the Witness. And we have more symbols from like the Vow symbol. So be prepared to learn some crazy stuff. You know, I don't know if you remember all of your Vow symbols, if you were doing those during your role clears, but there might even be more symbols now and just a bunch more armor ornament leaks and stuff. That's everything that we've got so far. Obviously, Bungie Leaks are going to be data mining and bringing you a ton more information. And it just looks like Bungie has been cooking. I mean, all these different cutscenes, all this different narrative stuff. It looks like there's going to be a lot going on in the Final Shape. It looks like Bungie might really be delivering on everything, which is pretty cool. And so then the last thing they show here is the Final Shape cutscene post-victory. And that's going to be pretty epic. So I'll save all of that for when it goes live for you in game, and make sure to subscribe and we'll keep you up to date on all the news and everything going on in Destiny 2. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.